So one of my favorite accounts actually that I follow is Caitlin Johnstone at Kate Oz. She's a really good account. Yeah, she's been definitely saying a lot about going after capitalism, rightfully so. Um, she says there's no good version of capitalism. Any system in which good behavior is driven by profit will necessarily see a steadily mounting rise in exploitation, inequality, ecocide, and militarism, because all of those things are profitable. We need to end the profit motive itself. Yeah, that's so true. And something that a lot of people probably don't know about me is I wasn't always like the anti-capitalist type, because I always figured, like, I'm like going out, I'm buying clothes, I'm buying shoes, I'm buying, I'm buying iPhones and stuff. I'm taking part in the capitalist system basically, and I always kind of figured, before I really got into like, you know developing my political knowledge and my theoretical views on politics and different capitalism, Marxism, communism, socialism, all noticing all these things and noticing all, obviously differentiating between them. I realized that the capitalist system doesn't mean so much as what you are taking part in, but it is what you are advocating for. And I definitely do not advocate for any kind of system that exploits workers, that is all about helping the 1% or the 0.01%, whatever it is, the very top, income earners. I'm about, I'm honestly really much more of an anarchist, in the sense that I believe that we need to give as much power to the workers, so that they can have much more rights, much more opportunities to better their lives. And that, to me, that's an anarchist point of view, especially when it comes to workers, especially when it comes to um, the workforce, and in many cases unions and whatnot. So I know a lot of people will probably disagree with me on the views on like what anarchism really is, like the kind of like a takeover kind of thing. I think the pejorative definition of anarchism is more like, oh, everybody's going to take over, and this is anarchism because it's so, like everybody's going crazy and going wild, and it's like the wild wild west out here. But no, in reality, the wild wild west is capitalism, where everybody's allowed to do whatever they want, the free market. Everybody's allowed to do whatever the fuck they want, and nobody has a grasp on anything, and nobody's allowed to, nothing's allowed to be regulated, nothing's allowed to be, kept to a certain limit or a level. And that's just not right. I don't think that's not right on any level. And that's why a lot of the countries that do actually have regulations, I know that's a scary word for right wingers and fucking conservatives and shit, but regulations are actually a good thing, even though it is being imposed by the government. But I mean, as long as we have a government in there that's doing the right kind of regulations, then it makes sense. Because there's a lot of times regulations aren't always going to be great. It's not like every single kind of regulation is a wonderful, amazing, perfect thing. It's just like certain things definitely need to be regulated. And I think big corporations for sure need to be regulated, especially when it comes to healthcare, when it comes to necessities, healthcare, housing, like education. So they don't want privatizing the fucking schools and stuff is the worst thing ever. So private schools are terrible. I think public schools need to be definitely much more, those need to become much bigger than they are now, much more prevalent than they are now. And obviously the right wingers don't want that, because they want to make private schools so they can have like the Christian schools and then indoctrinate everybody with their bullshit. So yeah, definitely the view that I have, I'm really like kind of in many cases a libertarian socialist. I'm a left libertarian, but I have a lot of sympathy and a lot of understanding of socialist, communist and Marxist views, and all these different views, Leninist views, because now that doesn't mean I support all of those things 100%. That just means that I definitely understand where those views are coming from, and why they are very prevalent on the left, and they should be. It's one of those things that you can't just think of it in a sense that it's like, well, you need to either be one or be the other, and then just only be a communist, only be a socialist, only be only believe in one thing or another. No, I am open to hearing all these different ideologies and all these different point of views, and educating myself as much as possible. Because another thing that I love about, being on Twitter is that a lot of the people that I follow on Twitter and people that follow me, well, specifically, the one that I follow, regardless of whether or not they follow me, but a lot of the people that I follow, I've become radicalized because I've listened to or read what they've said. So, a lot of the leftist, writers and podcast hosts and just regular hosts in general, that have shows on YouTube and stuff. Those people are definitely people that have radicalized me and helped me become a lot more understanding of left-wing ideologies and labels. And I definitely give them a lot of credit for that. That's why I like to do a show like this where I, espouse their views and, put that out there for other people to see as well if they're not already seeing it. So, but yeah, Kate, what's her? Kate Oz, her Oz is because she's from Australia, but Caitlin Johnstone, I'm sorry, she's a really, really good reporter. She's a great writer. She's written a lot of good articles out there and stuff. And I definitely encourage you to follow her if you haven't.